Thank you so much. Calling up our very first speaker. This panel discussion is all about industrial and digital revolutions, trends, challenges, and opportunities for SME and manufacturing sectors. The very first speaker will be highlighting the topic, which is regulation in packaging industries, impact and advantages. Please put your hands together for Mr. K. Ravi, Managing Director, HASSIA Packaging Private Limited. Very warm welcome to you, sir. I request you to please take a seat. Would also like to invite Mr. Avinash Velhal, CEO, SME Technology Development Council. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Our next speaker who's joining us on stage is Mr. Praveen Deshpande, co-founder and director, The Consulting Partners, TCP. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Very zordar taaliyan ho jaye as they join us on stage. Everybody, please. Thank you. Would also like to invite Mr. Pankaj Mittal, founder and CEO, DigiZen Consulting Private Limited. A very warm welcome to you, sir. He'll be joining us shortly. In the meantime, would like to invite Mr. Wouter van Hees, Trade and Investment Commissioner, Flanders, Belgium. A very warm welcome to you. Would also like to invite Mr. Rosario Barreto, Managing Director, Mentor and Coach, Barreco. A very warm welcome to you. Can we just not stop clapping? Thank you. Would also like to invite Mr. Vikram Verma, Head Marketing, EQ Worldwide. A very warm welcome to all our esteemed dignitaries who are present here on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I see a lot of tables and seats are empty. So as in when you come, I request you to take the forward seats. And hope your mobile phones are on silent mode. And with this, we begin with the panel discussion now. I request Mr. Avinash Velhal to kindly commence this panel discussion. Over to you. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. Can I hear a good afternoon, please? We had a good lunch, I believe. Good afternoon. So it's a difficult graveyard shift, normally what is called post-lunch. So we have to keep you interested and engaged. So can you just stand up a minute so that you can just shake your hands, legs, and then everyone? Great. And some people can come forward, please. Because the session is going to be interesting, you need to hear it very closely. Good. So thank you. We are going to discuss about digitalization today. And it's a much cliche word today, digitalization for SME. I can understand your challenges of funding, your challenges of skill set, your challenge of resources. But what's in it for me and where am I is going to be a very interesting question. So we are trying to achieve that through a panel over here who will talk about what is in digitalization, what's the impact, how it's going to be, what are the new technologies which have come so that you are aware of it. We'll have people from Belgium who will talk about how we can be a gateway for your expanding your business over here. And we have from packaging industry, what are the regulation advantages, or there's a specific case. And Mr. Barreto will talk about remodeling SME business case. So coming to digitalization, post-COVID, what has happened is we had to quickly recover from COVID and we had to restart our business. So apparently a lot of people went through a shock. It has been a shock to restore and restart the business, restart the infrastructure. So all of us have gone through that. Some people could do it faster, some people took time to sink in, some people could not survive. And today, this is a new environment which is totally different than when we went in 2 years back. Before that, nobody thought about remote working. It was thing of IT, somebody for some portion. But today, it's a part of your environment and you have to work from anywhere, any place. And technology is supporting that. So technology earlier was okay, good to have, and it has now become a DNA of your business because technology cannot be segregated from business. I come from an IT industry with 34 years of experience, worked with Atos, Siemens, L&T, but those days it was an IT enabler function. Now it is not enable, it's the function because IT is intrinsic, it's your DNA. So when that's the case, and after this post-COVID, how do we look at it? Are you really engaging those things? Like Mr. Javadekar was saying in the morning, innovation is the new theme. To innovate means, to define innovation is changing your processes, service, or a product to get a better commercialized revenue. Innovation is not just having a bright idea, but innovation means commercializing and applying it in the industry. So here we are there. We really can't have innovative ideas right out of the sky. We'll have to look at your business, your products, your services, and try to reimagine the whole stuff. So today, the world, every entrepreneur, everywhere, we are reimagining business. So digitalizing, yes, a base, but we are reimagining business. When we say reimagining business, it primarily means three things. How do I change my customer-facing endpoints? How do I become more customer-focused? How do I optimize my work process, internal processes, technology, and human capital? And the most important third pillar is, how do I remodel my business? Because nobody can survive today in a legacy fashion. So we need to remodel. So that's why digitalization has caught favor here. And we need to relook at how are we going about doing this. And it's very important for you. You can't be an ostrich, the head in the sand, and saying that, oh, digitalization सब ठीक है, मला त्याचा फरक पडत नाही आहे. मी आहे तसा बरा आहे. But that will not work, because primarily you need to have to look at your processes. Low-hanging mangoes like marketing, e-commerce portals are must-haves. You can't survive without that now. And going ahead, you need to look at more of the technology, how you can incorporate in a business. We understand it's going to be a challenge for SMEs. So that's why it's for the SME Technology Council, we would like to help you understand, help you aware, bring the partners to you, and take you further ahead. So we'll organizing such more events and sessions. I would recommend, if you want to really send me the mail or connect, whatever your challenges are, whether it's in terms of awareness, skill set, we will work out solutions for you. So with that, I would just like to invite our next speaker, who will talk about digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Avinash, for setting the context of this particular panel. Our very first speaker for this particular panel is Mr. K. Ravi. He's the Managing Director, HASSIA Packaging Private Limited. His topic is Regulation in Packaging Industries, Impact and Advantages. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and a very good afternoon. So the topic is regulations on packaging, but I'm really not an expert in regulations. What I do is I am in the packaging space for more than 35 years. I came back from Germany and I set up this company called Hasia Packaging, and I've been running it for about 25 years, and we are in the space of automating primary packaging. So before we go into the topic, just wanted to give you some idea about what we do. So the company was incorporated in 1997. So most of the brands that you see in the supermarkets that have flexible packs, they buy our equipment to automate, to pack at high speeds. For example, the largest rice exporter in the country is called KRBL, and their brand is called India Gate. And we have almost 15, 16 equipments packing 1 kg of rice at about 100 packs per minute, 120 packs per minute. They're one of the largest exporters of basmati rice out of India. So that's what we do. What we try and do in this space is bring value to our customers. We are a German MNC. However, we do a lot of innovation locally. So I think one of the expertise that I've developed over a period of time is to bring European technology into India and make it economically viable. So most of the European products, because of their price points, are aspirational for Indian customers. They look at equipments, but they're very, very expensive. Just to give you an idea, a company called Danone, it's one of the leading dairy companies in the world. I got a call from one of their directors, and he wanted to meet me. And his designation was very, very interesting. He called himself Vice President BOP. So I asked him, what is this designation called BOP? He said, my job is to make Danone enter the base of the pyramid. That means the overall world population is about 6.5 billion. He said we are currently only in about 1.5 billion countries with a cumulative population of 1.5 to 2 billion. My job is to take Danone to countries whose population will total about 4 billion. And then he said, we buy one equipment for about 4 million euros in France. I'm setting up a plant in Bangladesh. My total budget is 4 million euros, but I want the same technology. So I have to buy land in this, I have to buy equipment, I have to do everything, but I have to do it at a price point that is relevant. So I think a lot of discussion was happening about bringing technology here. The big opportunity for industries in general and SME in particular is to bring these technologies and make them relevant. And the second point is whenever something is designed abroad, they may or may not have our customers in mind. So plug that gap between the expectation of the local customer vis-a-vis what was the European designers thinking about is a competence we need to develop in India, and that's what we do. So what has happened as a result of this is not only are we supplying the Indian consumers, we also have connected as a preferred supplier to many of the multinationals. So they source from us for their plants all over Africa, Southeast Asia, neighboring countries, SAARC countries, etc. Now, what does packaging actually do? So I have a window of 6 to 7 minutes, so I will try and finish my presentation as fast as possible, and if there are some questions, I'll take it. So what is packaging supposed to do? You have a great product, but the product is great only when the consumer is ready to consume it. It has all the values that you had in mind or you have created. So the first aspect of a good package is it must protect the product from the point where it is produced till the point where it is consumed. Obviously, it will go through a certain channel of distribution, so it must store it properly. India's supply chain is one of the most challenging because you could have 47 degrees Celsius in one part of the country, you could have 90% humidity in another part of the country, you could have 20 degrees, and you have roads where the product is really, really punished, and yet it must arrive at the consumer the retail point in a good shape. Then convenience of using it. So one of the major disadvantages of flexible packaging is if you have a shampoo or something like that, you're struggling to open it and you're looking for a scissor or something like that. So finding solutions that it is convenient to use the package whenever you need it is also an important attribute of package design. And of course, it must inform what the product is all about, right? So, and then it's a marketing tool. There is a big change between how products are being sold today compared to, let's say, 20 years. And then in the last 3-4 years, again, there's a major change how products are being bought. In the earlier days, you went to a Kirana shop, the local Kirana shop, and he recommended product A or brand A or brand B or brand C. But now in a retail supermarket, the package has to sell itself. It stands there, and the way it looks, how it looks attractive. So the package becomes a brand promotional tool. And now with online platforms like Amazon, it even becomes even more important to present the package in a proper way. Briefly touching upon legal requirements of packaging, what does a package need to do from a legal standpoint? It must state what's the package weight. It has to list out what are the ingredients in the product that it contains. In India, it's important to know whether the product is vegetarian. So you have a green dot if it's a vegetarian product, you have a red dot if it is not vegetarian. It's mandatory to let the consumer know when the product was packaged and what is the expiry date. So most food manufacturers aspire for a shelf life of about 6 months. So from the time it's packed and from the time it's consumed, it can stay in the shelf for about 6 months. What is the product name, of course, product description, and manufacturer's name and address, any inputs on allergens. So if you're not allergic to certain things, you can avoid the product. instruction for use if the product needs instruction, how to use it, and of course, storage instructions. If you look at packaging, and that will take me to the next very important topic. If you looked at what was packaged, how it was packaged, let's say 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was mainly rigid containers. We used bottles, we used cartons, we used those kind of packages, tins, tin cans. And then flexible plastic-oriented package came into as a substitution, primarily because it's the lowest cost for any container. A flexible pack gives you the lowest cost for a container. So you are interested in taking your product from where you're manufacturing to the product where it will be consumed. You're also looking at the cost of doing that, because eventually a consumer will have to pay for it. And especially many of the FMCG companies, what they're doing is, in order to fuel their growth, they have to constantly move from Tier A cities to Tier B cities to Tier C cities. As you keep coming down this tier, the purchasing price capability, the purchase capability of the consumer goes down. So you need to be very, very competitive cost-wise in order to make a sale. So the flexible pack gives that big advantage. And second biggest advantage with the flexible pack is you make the pack. So we make what is called as a form, fill, seal machine. You form the bag, you fill it, and then you seal it. That means you have to just stock rolls. But if you were to fill it in a bottle, you will need bottles, you will need caps, you'll need labels. The production manager will be told, today you have to pack strawberry milkshake. He says, sir, I have only vanilla bottles in stock, so I can't pack strawberry. So supply chain packaging equipments are really a marketing tool. And we are in a VUCA world where it's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, where changes are rapid. And very often what's happening now with the change that's happening is disruptive. We all learned that during COVID. And all of a sudden, work from home has become a fashion. If you see the advertisements in the newspapers, people are saying, now our flat, you have a room where you can sit and work. So things are changing, and changing faster than what we were expecting. And it will continue to do that. So, sorry. The most important challenge the flexible packaging has brought into the space is sustainability. So more than the legal requirement of the package, sustainability is what is very, very important. And the United Nations has described it very nicely by saying, development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So are we going to consume in a way that our children and grandchildren will find it difficult to exist on this planet, because we're going to leave them with so much of garbage that we don't know what to do with it? And many of these plastics, you simply cannot burn them because the gases they emit are very, very harmful to the ozone layer. Having said that, bringing about the transformation into sustainable packaging, there are a lot of challenges. There is a lot of installed capacity which is not able to deal with changed materials that you need to work with. There are investments that are needed to be done without adding to the top line or bottom line. So this is a challenge that everybody is grappling with. There's a lot of talk going on about sustainability. There's a lot of work we ourselves are doing a lot of work. So what is sustainability goal? First and foremost is, can we try and use minimum packaging? If you go to the United States, stay in a hotel, you will have a plastic glass for drinking, let's say, water or whatever. But that will be in a pouch. So you open that package, and then you take the glass, and then you use it, and then you dispose it. So question is, do we need so much of packaging? Can we minimize it? So by minimizing the usage of packaging, you are helping the sustainability goals. And obviously, you are also reducing your cost of packaging. Then use of recyclable materials. So the core of any sustainability goal is whatever happens to the package. So the regulations, we talked about regulations. So the government of India came up with a regulation 4 or 5 years ago. I must say that it's not implemented, but the goal was that if you are a manufacturer Let's say I'm making lace chips, right? And I produced it in Pune, and somebody consumed my chips in Jammu and Kashmir. And he eats that chip and throws the pack on the street. The manufacturer is responsible for that. Then you can be fined sitting in Pune for that garbage in Srinagar or wherever. So what has to be done? You have to set up a recycling chain. Now, obviously, I manufacture the chips. I can't go to all over the country picking up this. So you try and create an economic value. Normally, you buy these films from companies that produce these films. They, in turn, will set up recycling plants. And like in the olden days, our kabadiwala would come and take a beer bottle and milk bottle, whatever else. Plastic waste would also be collected back. At the same time, the structure of the packaging material is undergoing change. In order to give shelf life, we use multi-layer films. So you have an outer layer that is good to print, so that the print looks very good. You have an inner layer that protects the product from moisture, oxygen, or whatever else that product needs protection from. And there's an inner layer that actually helps to seal the pack. So you have minimum 3 layers of film, which are all put together, and it's called a laminate. You glue them together. Now the problem of getting rid of this film is each of these materials has a different melting point. If you want to melt them and get rid of them, they have a different melting point. So if you can produce a package which has a single material, then you have a single melting point, and getting rid of it or recycling it becomes easy. But the challenge with using a single material is to find all the properties that the package needs to have. And that is where a lot of work is happening on the technology front. And what we are mainly doing today is many of our big customers like Unilever, Procter & Gamble, they are all doing a lot of work, and a lot of conversions we have done by helping them convert our machines to work with recyclable materials. And you are using now co-extruded polyethylene films, multi-layer, the same film with different thicknesses. You extrude them together. So you have a single material, the chemistry is just one, and then you can deal with it much easier. Sustainability also means how much resources are you using. For example, one of the initiatives we are taking in my company is we are getting rid of all the cars that we are using and converting them into EVs. And we are installing solar power panels. So we produce our own power, and with the power that we produce, we will energize our cars, and we will use it. And we will have just maybe 1 or 2 cars which runs on fossil fuel, because the challenge with EV is that the range that they give you is not much. Most companies in Pune need to go to Mumbai and come back very often. So I have to stop somewhere on the way back to charge my car. It still takes a long time. So if we get into a point where you use, just to give you one example of sustainability that we have done, if our equipment specification, if you look at it, one of the connected load is an important data, which is also a cost, how much power you're consuming to run the equipment. And if you look at the connected load, 60 to 70% of that power consumption comes from heaters which we use for sealing the film. And by working a lot on how we run the heaters and how we are insulating the heat from going to other places, we are able to reduce the connected load by almost 50%, which is also a sustainable solution, right? So we are trying to use less, because if you use a lot of power, the country is using coal or it's using diesel or whatever other forms of producing electricity, and there is some amount of pollution going into the air. And obviously, we all need to work, and we add little, and then at the end, it becomes a substantial amount of saving for the country. And last but not the least, while you package and while you produce, reduce wastage. Because waste is produced, which is not used by anybody, but you're using resources to produce that waste. So if you can fine-tune your processes, internal processes, to cut down on wastages, and that would help you to further enhance your own sustainable operations. There is a lot of technology. For example, today, a few years ago, our equipments were dumb. We needed an operator to tell it what to do. Today, the equipment is smart. You need to, the equipment will tell the operator, I need to pack Arial 1 kg. Please tell me whether the film and the product is there. You say yes, and then it'll say, I need to pack 5 tons and I'll finish at 4:45 p.m. And it actually finishes the production at 7 p.m. and the machine will say, I'm sorry, I took 2 hours and 15 minutes more, and these are the reasons why I lost production. So the maintenance team and the production manager can get together. Somebody said here, data-based management. You can sit with that data and say, okay, why did I lose 10% or 15% of efficiency? So looking at it from a broad perspective, sustainability means cutting down on wastage, minimizing resources, and working on recyclable processes. So briefly, that is from me, and thank you very much. Take the questions, Jane.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, our next speaker is here, Mr. Vikram Verma, who's the head of marketing EQ Worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you.
So very good afternoon to my esteemed panel members and all the delegates here. Firstly, I would like to apologize. Mr. Jitesh Shetty was supposed to join us, and he called in sick, so I'm trying to fill his shoes right now. EQ Worldwide, you must have seen Gati KWE logo about 2 hours back. So you guys might be wondering, what is EQ Worldwide, what is Gati? In a very simplistic fashion, our group company, the group umbrella is called All Cargo Group. Under that, we have Gati KWE, we have EQ Worldwide, and we have All Cargo Logistics. We also have some other companies like Avashya CCI and many other. This was formed lots of years back by Mr. Shashikiran Shetty. He is a very known name in this industry. Why are we here? Why am I here? I'm here to present to you how technology changed the logistics industry, and how especially EQ Worldwide as a group sustained the 2 years of COVID, using this technology. I'm very happy to share that currently, globally, if you say, we have the biggest ERP. Now, how does ERP really help us? So let's just go back to 2.5 decades. If somebody had to ship something from one country to another, he would have to call in, let's say, Mr. X or a forwarder, or then the forwarder would have to call maybe a Maersk shipping line or maybe some supplier here and there globally and start taking rates. Rates were all over the place. Today, what we do is, with our global ERP, all the rates are feeded in across the 180 countries. So imagine today something going from here to Brazil, or from here to Azerbaijan, or from here to Kenya, and not just from India to any country, but from any country to any country. There are import and exports always happening. All this thing is backed by technology, which means all these rates are in our platform, which we call as the ERP. Internally, we've named it as Topaz. So that is backed, we are backed by Topaz is what we always say. I'm also happy to share that compared to companies like DHL, who don't have an ERP like that, today EQ Worldwide has an ERP using which we are able to digitize a lot of things. So something on EQ Worldwide, we are #1 LCL consolidators. We are in 180 countries with over 300 offices worldwide. And we have a team of 4,500 people here. I'm one of them. So our global ERP, what does it do? It connects all the 300 offices. So technically, all offices are talking to each other globally using that ERP. What we do through the ERP is, it handles huge transaction volume. So that is how we get the benefits of digitization. Automates all of our workflows, whether creating a quote or getting pricing from one place, putting into another, mixing of pricing. All of that is done using ERP. Personalized logistics services, use of digital tablet PC, and digital reception of supplies. Everything is managed through our ERP. Just think about it. we manage close to about 2,500 trade lanes. Now, one trade lane is Mumbai to Azerbaijan. Second trade lane is Azerbaijan to Mumbai. There are so many, and from our perspective, what is a supply? Supply is basically supply of containers on which all you exporters and manufacturers would want to, put their thing and send it to some country abroad. So all those supplies or all the containers put together are put on that global ERP. So this is one of the biggest ERP case studies which we have. Now, once we built the global ERP and we took some time to build this, while we're a logistics company, we have a great team of, let's say, IT architects who work on this platform. And just because now we have this ERP, what we have been able to do is work out a revolution from a shipping perspective, which is EQ360. And I am actually directly involved in marketing of EQ360, and hence I'm here. Now, honestly, what's in it for the SMEs, right? You might be wondering, okay, all this technology has helped them in digitizing, but how do we get the benefit of this digitization? So this just brings me to one question. How many of you, fine, most of you are manufacturers, but how many of you are exporting or importing anything from India to some country or some other country to here? Can I have your hands up? So about 60, 70 of them, 70, 80 of them, great. So now what you can technically do with this platform is you could do quick quoting, you could do quick booking, you can also track and trace your shipment, which means, let's say somebody is an electronic manufacturer in India and needs some semiconductors from, let's say, Vietnam or China, and you want to import that. All you need to do is you need to come to the platform, EQ360, register. We will have one of our sales team member working with you, and you'll be surprised. The sales team member will not be selling you anything. The sales team member will only train you or your team to handle this front end, what we call as EQ360. Now, once you have your sign up, all what you need to do is come on the platform, put in your origin and destination, and put some weight, measures, all of that, which are your basics of quoting, and you have your quote ready for a Vietnam, India, or a China, India, right in front of you. You don't have to call up anybody. You don't have to email anybody. Tomorrow you feel that, this quote is high, let me look at a second option. The platform will help you. In essence, if you've booked your tickets on Make My Trip or hotels on booking.com, this platform will essentially work for you exactly in that manner. So today, I would be happy to say that we have close to about 7,500 forwarders, more than 35,000 transactions happening on a monthly basis on this platform. Beyond this platform, you would need something like, for example, other logistics support. In the sense, you may not have like a full container load, you have a part container load, we can help you with that. You may need custom clearances, we can help you with that. In India specifically, All Cargo is listed as a freight forwarder also. So in a way, if you come to us, we technically become your one-stop shop. So just to differentiate, what Gati does for you is send things between cities and states in India, within India, and what EQ Worldwide and All Cargo Logistics can do can help you export or import any of your things globally. Coming back to, actually I've exceeded some of these, but just coming back to this, when we realized this whole potential of what we could do on behalf, or let's say on the backing of Topaz, we formed this platform called EQ360. And we're not going to stop here because we believe that a lot of things can be digitized in this logistics industry. Unfortunately, it's like an industry laggard when it comes to technology. It's going a little slow. But today, most of the carrier companies like Maersk, Hapag-Lloyd, if you see their FCL, which is full container load, they expect people to book FCL and such things online. So technically, they have gone 100% digital. But when it comes to LCL, which is less than container load, we have not yet digitized fully. And that's where we have taken this role of digitizing at least our part of the operation. This is just a dashboard. It's not complete, but basically this gives you milestones. So our entire dashboard is based on 12 steps. So let's say if you have your electronic setup in Vashi, and you want to send something to Azerbaijan from there. So at a time when it leaves, the cargo leaves your setup at Vashi and goes to JNPT, and it reaches JNPT, you will get your first milestone that it's reached the CFS. At CFS, once we do the carting, and once it is gone on the container, you get your second, kind of a trigger. So at each step, you know where exactly is your cargo. So basis that you are also committing to your importer that this is when this cargo is going to reach. I understand that beyond a point, technology can't help. Technology can't help push the ships. Technology can't help get you containers where they are stuck. But technology can definitely give you a view. So when you're making your commitments to importers or to exporters on the reverse side, you're able to 100% tell them that, hey, you know what? We are delayed by 20 days. Also, what technology helps you do is, once you figure out that there are congestions in some place, it helps you look at some other routes, correct? Sometimes ocean is not the best solution. And being an ocean provider, I'm telling you that. Ocean may not be the best solution, but at the same time, you can use an air freight solution. And that's where you can ensure that your client's demands are taken care of. So this is our dashboard, how it broadly looks like. As I said, we have door-to-door rates in 50 countries. Door-to-door is simple. A product going out from your warehouse, reaching your importer's warehouse is called door-to-door. Port-to-port is when you're only shipping things from one port to other. So we have door-to-door service in 50 countries, which means we will take care of your first mile, putting it on the ship, and also taking care of the last mile in whichever country you want us to. So this solution takes care of 50-plus country. This 50-plus country takes care of 80 to 85% of the export-import volume. So all major countries practically get covered in that. Now, going forward, what we are also doing is, we, with the help of data science, are trying to make this product more and more robust. We are trying to, you must have heard this buzzword, AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Through this, we come to know, a lot of things about our clients. Once you start using the dashboard, you would come to know a lot of things about how your shipments are planning. A lot of things can be done within that dashboard. What are the benefits of that? Network optimization, yield management, and automated RFQs are some of the benefits. From a yield management side, today we know that each of our container, let's say we break even at 50% of the container. So how do we make it better? Some of these science was not there a few years back. So as soon as the cutoff date hits, whether we are at a 40% container capacity or 60% or 80%, we would not know, whether we are in profit or in loss, but we would still have to push the container and probably take a loss of that. Hence, you must have seen some numbers that for a very, very long time, logistics has been a very negative P&L kind of companies. Most forwarder were in losses, and even big companies had to take the hit of that. But today with yield management, we exactly know, the point at which we start making money. So we can work towards that. Our teams can work towards that. And all this is done through automation and through data science. So yes, we are a logistics company, but we are getting high-tech with the use of technology and very good data scientists who are in the team and who are also joining on a daily, monthly basis. Now, what's in it for you guys? I've actually said it at the start. All the exporters, importers here, please connect with us anytime you feel, you are ready for this, and we can align you with our team. Let me tell you, this platform is free of cost. There is no cost to sign up on the platform. The cost is only when you are sending things from one place to other. So tomorrow, if you sign up and you take a quote from All Cargo or EQ Worldwide, we're not going to charge you for that. If you like the quote and you wish to go ahead with it, you're welcome to do business with us. There is absolutely no cost. But I can assure you some things. Without even paying a penny, you will see some increase in efficiency once you start working with us. You will see cost reductions because you're working directly with the NVOCC. And we have our own inventory and space in the container which you can access. Of course, space has been a very big problem in the last 2 years. Now it is easing out, and but no one can really predict that because on one side you have 2 countries, fighting. On another side, you have another 2 countries thinking of going into a fight. So nobody can predict this, but definitely working with us, you will definitely see some cost reduction, increase in profits. That is naturally a function of reduced cost. And of course, you will see some business model innovation once you start working with us. To know more, to know details of this, please reach out to us so somebody could maybe give you a demo, increase your understanding of the product. If not anything, you will just gain knowledge. That's what I would say. Thank you from my end. Thanks for patiently listening. And if you have any questions, I'm here to take them.
रोज है सजता विकास का त्योहार गौरव से है बढ़ता अब हर व्यापार कैनरा बैंक है ना कैनरा MSME लोन together कैनरा बैंक together.
Without any further ado, I would like to welcome our next speaker. His topic is going to be how Flanders, region of Belgium, is the gateway to the EU market for Indian exporters. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Wouter Wannes, Trade and Investment Commissioner, Flanders, Belgium.
Well, thank you very much for that short and sweet introduction. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, to the graveyard shift, as Mr. Velhal called it. I was getting a bit ahead of myself and saying it's evening already. It is just Friday afternoon. Indeed, I am a Trade and Investment Commissioner at Flanders Investment and Trade, based in Mumbai at the Consulate of Belgium. Very short, Flanders Investment and Trade is a government organization. Authorities from the government of Flanders, the Dutch-speaking northern part of Belgium. Let's get into the presentation, which is all about logistics, so a little bit connected to what the previous speaker of EQ Worldwide said. Company with a strong link with Belgium, by the way, so yeah. Yes, yes. Of course, SMEs, Flanders is actually also a region or state, let's say, of SMEs. We're fully convinced that SMEs are a driving motor of the economy, and the same goes here for India, I think. SMEs are a very important part of it. Now, of course, India and Flanders are not really to be compared with each other in terms of size and scale. Flanders is a region. You could compare Flanders as the state of Maharashtra within India, so Flanders is like that region within the country of Belgium. In terms of population, we're only 6 million, so again, scale is quite different from Maharashtra compared to India, for example. But okay, let's get into it. Central location within the heart of Europe. And yeah, let's start with a map. Of course, I suppose everybody knows Europe. The little yellow dot there, that is Flanders. That's the northern part of Belgium again. So we're right in the heart of Europe, in between UK to the west, the Netherlands, Germany, small country of Luxembourg, and of course France to our south. You see the yellow circle, that's actually a circle, a radius, 500-kilometer radius, from Brussels, which is also the capital of Flanders, not just of Europe and Belgium, but also Flanders. 60% of European purchasing power is within that circle of, or the 500-kilometer radius. So I do think that our location is quite strategic and central within the European Union market. Let's go into some things about infrastructure, because at the end of the day, when we talk about logistics, infrastructure is a huge part of it, of course. If we look at Flanders and our infrastructure, then we can boast with 4 big international seaports. Actually, officially, there's only 3 ports. As recently, the port of Antwerp and the port of Zeebrugge merged. So officially, administratively speaking, it would be 1 port, but it still, of course, has 2 sites, the port of Antwerp and the port of Bruges. Port of Antwerp, by the way, second largest port of Europe. Apart from a lot of logistics, there's also a huge industrial cluster there, and more specifically in petrochemicals, it's the second largest petrochemical cluster in the world after the port of Houston. The North Sea port of Ghent is another big one, quite large on biotech and automotive, fruit juices as well, so in food products. Port of Ostend is very specific for renewable energy. Belgium is a country with a lot of offshore wind energy, and actually the port of Ostend is the hub for the wind energy industry that we have developed in our country. Port of Antwerp, apart from chemicals, of course, is a major general port for containerized traffic. Port of Zeebrugge is very big on car transports into UK, for example, also other markets of Europe, and it's also big in food. Apart from the seaports, we also have 4 international airports. Brussels Airport, of course, is our main one, but also the port of Ostend-Bruges, port of Antwerp, which is a smaller airport, and the airport of Kortrijk, which is also one of the smaller, more business flights-oriented international airport. For liner shipping connectivity, we are the 10th largest region or country worldwide, and then you have some figures in terms of the tonnage that we do in logistics every year. So it just goes to show a little bit what Flanders is all about with some figures. And actually, I forgot a major one. The first figure you see there, 656 European distribution centers. So even though it's a very, very small region geographically and in terms of population, we do have 656 currently European distribution centers. So basically, these are mostly major international companies that have set up their distribution and logistics activities in our region for the European market. And this is exactly what I want to talk about this afternoon. Here's a map zoning in a little bit on our region. So it just shows where the major facilities are, the ports, the airports. The gray splashes or bananas that you see are all major infrastructures for logistics and distribution facilities. So it's basically spread out all over our geography. All along the highways, very dense road network that we have. We're also quite big on internal shipping, so waterways, internal waterways. Also there we have quite a lot of these EDC activities going on. A little bit about our trade. We do investment and trade promotion from our office here in Mumbai. Export from our region last year amounted to 380 billion euros. Imports was 378, so we just have a positive trade balance there. If we dive a little bit deeper, you see, of course, in 2020 we had a big drop. I don't have to tell you why. And we had a major surge last year, much higher than the years before COVID even. Now you see that from the total amount of exports, almost two-thirds goes towards European markets. And of course, this is not just generated by our own SMEs or companies that are based in Flanders, it's also throughput through all the logistics activities that we have through the ports and the airports. So a lot of companies that are actually headquartered or that have manufacturing production sites outside of the EU, outside of Flanders, use our facilities, use the ports, use the airports to export or to distribute their products through our region, through the hub function that we have for logistic activities to other markets in the EU. So that should also be counted in that 381 billion euros. So just goes to show where that 2/3 or the 65%, let's say, exports in the EU comes from. This is just one example, and actually it's the largest one that we have of one of these EDCs, European Distribution Centers. Of course, I don't have to introduce the company Nike, a big US company in sports and apparel. They have their major EDC, European Distribution Center, set up in our region. Total workforce in our region is about 4,000 staff members, and it's purely logistics and distribution. So there's no manufacturing or assembly or production happening there. Of course, you know that Nike has production partners, manufacturing facilities worldwide, a lot here in Asia. I was posted in Vietnam before. They had 70 companies that they worked with there to produce just shoes and apparel, basically. And basically all the goods that are sold within the European market get shipped from Vietnam, Bangladesh, India, and so on and so forth, through the hub, through the EDC in Flanders, to all the shops and retailers that are scattered all over the European market. Now, of course, this is a huge example. This is the biggest one we have. But like Nike, we have more than 600 EDCs in our small region. There are 5 scenarios I very, very briefly want to touch upon. I'm not going to go into depth because it would take us way too far. There are 5 different scenarios for setting up your own logistics activities in our region. And of course, if you look at the Nike example, that would be 4 or 5 there, but there are much more flexible and smaller scale opportunities as well. So you don't have to go for a full-fledged EDC. Because of course, at the end of the day, it is a huge investment to make. So there are easier and less cash-intensive, I would say, options as well. Very briefly, scenario 1: just have a market intelligence rep office. There's no legal entity, but you do have a presence. You can do market research, representation activities, but no proper sales. That has to be done from the mother entity, which would be based probably here in India in this case. You could store goods in the second scenario. Again, no legal entity, but you can own your own stock, which is stored in Belgium with a third-party logistics provider, 3PL, basically. Scenario 3, value-added logistics. Again, still no legal entity in Belgium. So you see there's many different ways to go about having your own logistics setup. Scenario 4, that would be the Nike example then. That's, of course, a bit more advanced, so to say. So it's a proper EDC with a Belgian legal entity. Some details are there. Of course, we can share the presentation later. We also have some brochures about this. So if anyone is interested in that, I can share my business card later on, and then we can share some detailed information afterwards. And then scenario 5, the fully fledged European hub, which is basically a Belgian legal entity with a holding structure, a regional HQ for the European market. These are some examples of actual Indian companies that have set up already in Belgium, not just in Flanders, but in the whole country. There are quite a few companies that are already doing logistics activities in our region as well, and that are doing distribution to many European customers from our region. So you wouldn't be the first one to do so. Very, very brief word about our organization, Flanders Investment and Trade. We have a network of about 100 offices worldwide. Here in India, we have a representation of 3 offices. So I'm based in Mumbai as head of post. We also have an office in New Delhi and in Bangalore. So altogether, we cover the India geography. And actually, one of my colleagues is here as well. So you can always reach out to me or her once we have the chance after the presentations finish. We have about 150 staff members in Flanders itself, and about 180 in our foreign offices, so just over 300 in total. And altogether, we have quite a large network of partners, organizations, but of course also private companies in our region that can help you to decide, okay, what would be, from all the scenarios that I very, very briefly touched upon, what would be a good setup for your specific business case, depending on your sector, your industry, your customer base, geographically speaking, but also sector-wise speaking. We have consultants in Flanders that can help you to decide, okay, what would be the best legal setup for your enterprise. We have tax consultants in our network, and so on and so forth. So basically, we have a whole network of partners that could help you to understand the market and to understand what would be the most efficient setup. Here you have some basic contact details, and basically that wraps up my presentation. So if there are any questions, I can take them now or later. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights along with us. Would now like to invite our next speaker, whose topic of discussion is Industry 4.0, Impact and Advantages of Industry and SMEs. Please welcome Mr. Praveen Deshpande, co-founder and director, the Consulting Partners, TCP, with a huge round of applause, everyone.
All right. So before I start the presentation, I just have some questions. So all of you have paid fees? All right, okay. So now you pay attention, okay? Thank you. 3 questions. First question is, who said that those who ignore future become the history? Who said that those who ignore the future become the history? If nobody, okay, then it's me who has said that. Next question is, what is Industry 4? Anybody has any idea what is Industry 4? Fourth generation of industrial revolution, right. Great. And the third question is, can I start this? Right. So what is that you're looking at? All right, this is a film clip of Charlie Chaplin, and the movie is Modern Times, right? All right, okay. So this movie is produced in 1936, some 87 years before. And the name of the movie was Modern Times, right? And this is what they wanted to say as Industrial Revolution then, some 84 years back. So what is Industry 4? So it is fourth revolution. If it is fourth, what is third? What is second? And what is first? So just to capture where we are. So the first industrial revolution is called sometimes when we started using steam engines and water. That changed the entire industry of how we manufacture. That was almost 200 years back. So that was named as Industry 1. So have you heard Industry 3 anytime? No. So suddenly it has come as 4. Why? Because Germany has declared that this is IT revolution happening, industry revolution happening, and this is the 4th one. So we defined the remaining 3. So first revolution is when we started using steam. Second revolution is when we started using oil and electricity. That was in 1870 onwards. So the modern times was almost the end of second revolution. Very small characters which changed the entire industry's face is called revolution. So when we are calling Industry 4, we are actually talking of revolution. It's not just Industry 4. The third is when computers arrived on the screen. And that was in 1970, which is 100 years after the second revolution. That changed industry again across the world. So what it means by computers is also meant by mobile. It's also meant by internet. So industry third revolution is something which we have lived so far, maybe till few years back. I have worked in IT industry for 25 years. I was head of SAP for Wipro and Tech Mahindra. So I have seen the revolution happening in terms of what ERP and in general computers can do for an industry, be it Y2K or be it ERP. So this has changed industry completely by making it digital. So that is third. If that is third, then fourth has to be substantial, powerful, and impacting again the next industrial revolution which we are on the edge of. So those who ignore the future become the history, said by Praveen Deshpande. Okay? I'm just joking. All right. Right. So this is industry 4. Can you read 4? No. Only machines can read. Right? So the next industrial revolutions which is about to come or we are currently going through is not only human working on it. Earlier 3 revolutions were of human. Now it is machines. So industry 4 is about machines. So this is industry 4, and this is again kind of my definition here, is what we are trying to do is mix 3 things: machine, human, and physical environment around us. When we club all these 3, then industrial 4 revolution begins. It is still not rampant in India, but it is about to come. We are consulting many organizations about how to adopt it. All right, so what is the world of Industry 4? What are the aspects? So just go through few of these, I would say, clips, and just try to grasp it. Got it? This is just a glimpse of what we are talking about, Industry 4, which I'll explain now. So if you want to see the world, you want to go out of the world and see the earth, how it looks. So this is how Industry 4 looks as the world. Basically 4 components. It is Internet of Things, cloud computing, virtual reality, and digital transformation. I would say these are the areas of Industry 4, and the states among it is embedded systems and augmented reality and things like that. Right? So this is what is basically the scope of Industry 4. Now, what is this? All right, the objects appearing in the mirror are closer than they look. What it means is, though it is, as of now, looking very far, maybe a fantasy world of robotics and smart factories, etc. But it is not really so. If you have studied the reports of the investments which are coming up in Maharashtra itself, big factories are putting smart factories in place. And really the type of factories which we have seen so far are not going to be the same in future. So this is not a future which is far away. Also, I wanted to tell you, in Marathi there is a saying called "Adi potoba mo vithoba." आधी प्रॉफिट पाहिजे, मग बघू रोबोट वगैरे जमलं तर. पण आता तसं नाही आहे. आता आधी विठोबाची गरज आहे सगळ्यांना आणि मग पोटोबा मिळेल. So that is how you will have to change your attitude towards how you look at your business, or somebody else is going to do the same thing in a very different way. All right, so now what are the forefronts of industrial technologies, Industry 4 technologies? So I have listed very few here, but these are the important ones. Industrial IoT, Internet of Things. I don't really need to explain what is Internet of Things to all of you. I think you are all aware of it. Edge computing is basically about the speed of computing. The 5G networks, which we are currently seeing, the auctions are going on. Once they are in place, then the entire world is going to change, because the speed at which your mobile and sensors and the entire data collection and distribution is going to happen 1,000 times more than what it is today. So it's going to change completely. Predictive maintenance is something which is again going to be like bhutatki. Okay? Your machines are going to check whether they need maintenance. If you have lesser oil in your machine, and if there's a little more friction and little more temperature inside, it's going to tell you that I have a problem. You don't need any maintenance guy to really go and look at it. It is a bhutatki which is going to happen. Digital twins. What it means is that first you try to do it digitally. If it works, then you do it manually. So you don't invest in creating die or a press shop or some grinding machine or something. First you check, create the machine digitally inside your computer, give all the feedback, feed the machine, give the component, look at the quality. If it works, then it will work actually in the physical world. So that's digital twin. Extended reality is all augmented reality or virtual reality. It's a mix of, suppose you are looking at a control panel, whatever are the readings on control panel, you will see what are going to be the repercussions of if these things goes away or goes out of the range and goes to something else. It's going to autocorrect their own reality and change their parameters. You will only be able to see it through your headgears. Dark factories is a crazy concept. Dark factories means why you need light? Because there is no man inside. Everything is going to be done by machines. You don't need a man, right? From carrying or loading machine or whatever you want to do. You don't need a man. That is dark factories. Cobots is robots plus human interaction. What it means is that earlier robots had to be designed to pick a pencil like this. So I have to tell robot that go pick, it will do this robotic activity, like this. Now what is going to happen with cobot is I will pick only the action. So I don't need to feed anything to robot. I will do the action as if I'm working, and actually the machine will be working. So no physical efforts of working. You can sit in your chair and do drilling or whatever you want. You want to lift, forklift, material movement, anything. That is cobots. And additive manufacturing is Actually, 3D printing is what they call, but additive is because you add your material while creating something. So these are forefronts of what is happening in Industry 4 as technologies. All right, so what does it mean to you to run your business? So these are the 7 business levers which will help you to decide where your Industry 4 technology can be utilized. So resource, assets, manpower, inventories, demand supply chain, time to market, services and after sales. These are the areas where you can deploy Industry 4 solutions. Now, I will not get into each of it separately. It's a vast subject, and covering everything in 20 minutes is not possible. But say, for example, resources, whether it is the intelligent lots, which can get created depending on the actual physical inventory lying in your stores. You don't have to go and count, or you don't have to go to an ERP and check with your login and password and workflows and who is authorized to look at the inventory, who is not authorized to. Gone are those days. If the inventory is there, it will be sensed and it will be told you that these are the 4 packages. Whatever your ERP is showing as 5 packages is not true, it's 4. You have to find out what happened to the first one. So that is intelligent lot. Real-time yield optimization. Machines will change themselves. They are changing themselves. Machine learning and artificial intelligence put together, we have set up, that is, I was consultant for one of the German company, we have set up a plant in Devas with complete real-time yield management for a chemical industry. And it is happening, it's a German company. And there is absolutely no person who looks at any control panel and change what should be the material input, how the machine is flowing, or material is flowing, what is the viscosity. Everything is taken care by a machine. Machine flexibility, you can change the routings. Machines will sense what is the overall scenario, swift configuration or reconfiguration of production facilities. Predictive maintenance, I already told you. Augmented reality is also I kind of covered. Manpower, as I said, human and robot collaboration. Remote monitoring and controlling. Work from home will not be only for like service or IT industries. It will be work from home for workers too. It's possible. That's what we are heading towards. Automated knowledge is something which is of the future. I will not talk about it right now. Inventories, batch size 1. I used to work in companies called Thermax and Philips. And as an industrial engineer, it was my dream to have batch size 1. All by Jurang and just in time and all what you must have learned. So that dream will now come true through the smart factory of batch size 1. Real-time supply chain optimization and 3D printing components. Now, trust me, there is a company in Pune which is about to start selling electrical motorcycles, and the spare parts will be printed at the retail chamber. If something has gone wrong in that motorcycle, you don't have to buy a spare part. They will print and give it to you in Pune. So no spare part management, no spare part inventory management. All those days where inventory control, ABC analysis, safety stock, all that will be questioned. Demand and supply chain. So data-driven design or data-driven prediction, I will skip this part a bit. Time to market is very important. Your entire R&D is changing. All your components are first going to get designed inside the computers without any workshop. You will have those in your design team, and then it will be executed directly for production. There is no prototyping. Trying to produce a part, checking the quality, and trying to use it, all that will be things of the past. Everything will be prototyped inside the computer. And of course, customer co-creation, Toyota, and one of the auto company in Chennai, they have created a co-creation of their designing the entire car once again for EV. And all the parts are going to change, and they are talking to vendors about what you can manufacture so that we design accordingly. Not what we design and you manufacture. What are your production facilities? What is that you can do? So it's up to you if you want to become a vendor for Toyota. Not the other way around. Entire paradigm is going to shift, and that is why we are calling it as Industry 4, because you know what is 1 to 3. They changed the industry. All right, okay. Last one, sales and after sales. Again, I will skip this. You got the crux of what I'm trying. Very quick, whatever utopia we are talking about, how industry is taking it. So Internet of Things, 72%, this is a study which is conducted by Deloitte in 2020 during COVID days. And Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, cloud have got first class, passed by most of the industries. Data analytics, nanotechnologies, and advanced robotics, sensors have got second class. And blockchain, 3D, augmented reality, quantum computing, and edge computing are failed yet. They are yet to capture. So this is the priority what customer is giving to a technology. And on your right hand side, this is SME, so small, medium, and large. Adoption of these technologies, how is done by small, how is done by medium, and how is done by large. If you see IoT, all I have captured the crux of the technology. Similarly, if you see mobile technologies, be it small or be it large organization, they have taken care of their needs. Huge gap is between simulation and robotics, good capture on big data, and quite a lag between small and large in terms of augmented reality. So this is the overall trend so far by 2021. This is Industry 5, which is coming. I don't know what that is. Let 4 happen first. All right, I will stop here. Before that, don't forget Charlie Chaplin, right? So after modern times, Charlie Chaplin was used as a model for IBM computers, their first PC. So he himself changed from physical work to computer. And that is why last year they have created a 3D printed coin for Charlie Chaplin to note Industry 4. So Industry 2, Industry 3, and this is Industry 4. They have 3D printed coin for Charlie Chaplin. All right, now it's come to me. Have you chewed more than what I said? Was it too much? Was it too much of a distance? Have I fed too much? Because this can go wrong. It's all robotics, you know. They tried robotics then too and failed. Right? So, yeah, my job is to help industries to decide what is right and what is wrong when you go for an IT adoption. My job is to tell companies not to buy ERP if they are not ready. Okay, so thank you from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, I know that there is so much of knowledge to be shared, but less amount of time. Hence, we are just rushing a bit. Thank you so much for your insights, sir. Our next speaker is going to highlight on the topic that is impact and advantages of digitization and digitalization for SME sector. Please put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Pankaj Mittal, founder and CEO, DigiZen Consulting Private Limited. A very warm welcome to you.
I think the previous speaker made my job easy. So in my world of IT, digital transformation is a very abused word today. anything and everything is digital today, right? So how many people, raise your hands when I say that in pandemic there was a huge push for digital transformation? Almost everybody is saying digital transformation happened during the pandemic, but we were locked in homes. So what happened on that digital, right? So I know the Kirana store guy, used WhatsApp to copy everything and make a list and send everything, while he may have never used WhatsApp in his life earlier, or people using retail analytics or logistics companies coming out of their way to help, and you were ordering groceries on mobile apps all across. So some examples of IT has been very, very peculiar about, whether you are a large enterprise or a startup or medium or SME. But I think technology is one thing which is touching lives everywhere. Whether you are a hotel industry or a travel company or a kirana shop or a analytics or a e-commerce company, tech has been there for a while now. And if you guys don't get digital, if you guys don't use technology, two things will not happen very clearly. One is productivity will not improve. Second, efficiency gains will not come through. And we keep hearing this word, data is the new oil. Yeah, but data is the new oil, but the oil need refineries. And for these refineries, you need to have some actionable insights. Then only you can make decisions on these refineries. Correct? So you need to have actionable insights, which will come with the use of analytics, automation, process re-engineering, and IT being the backbone at the back end. Today, how many people can live without not seeing their email for 2 hours or 4 hours or 8 hours? My dad used to say, सारे दिन कंप्यूटर में घुसे रहते हैं, पता नहीं क्या करते हैं. But today, I cannot live without not able to answer a phone call or, read my messages of responding to there. So impact of digitization or digitalization, whether you are a small scale industry or a large scale industry or import, export, or whosoever what you are, tech is touching everywhere. But what amount of tech to be used and where to be used is what the query and the question is, because in our world of SMEs or exporters, importers, small-time manufacturers, we spend a little about technologies. And people will come, sell you product, platform, technology, dabba, license, everything they will come to sell you out. But then you need somebody who you can trust as a trusted advisor, and how do I use digital to do a maximum outreach of my products, of my services, or my platforms? How do I make maximum reach out of it? And that's where IT comes into the picture. Digital presence today is, a big yes, yes. It cannot be a big no. You need to have your technology presence. You need to have your platform presence on internet. And the internet has plethora of things. The marketplace is crowded. A lot of people selling similar services or products or platforms just like yours. So how do I become unique? How do I become different? How do I, stand out of the crowd is what tech is all about. So how do I do that? So some key challenges, I think we talked about it, but I will talk about 3-4 things only. Primarily, one is adoption of cloud. Second is automation. And third is what we call it as adaptive security measures. So during pandemic, a lot of my servers, applications, ERPs were sitting out of my office. Factory was closed. Office was closed. People were not able to go. And that's where we talk about something called as cloud first, mobility first as an approach. So today, post-pandemic, companies are now doing digital transformation or transforming their IT to ensure that they have a cloud access available, which means anytime, anywhere, any device, any application. And second, no need of putting expensive, fancy servers in your offices. Today, everything is mobile. So are your company, are your employees, are your tools, are your platforms, are they mobile ready? If not, I think we need to get into that journey. Because buying behavior or the pattern today is very impulsive. People have no loyalty to the product. If I don't get this, I click on Flipkart, I am not able to buy it, I will immediately switch over to Amazon and go and buy it there. Right? So digital is a big yes or a foundation to be done. It can never be a no-no. Why do you need a digital strategy? You need to expand, right? You need to go to multiple horizons. You need to go to bigger geographies. Need to connect with the customer. We see a lot where we talk about big fours and big companies come back and says, true transformation is important. But a true transformation is all about customer being in the center. What is his need? What is his requirement? Am I able to address him? Am I able to reach him? Am I able to get things done in place? Track my ROI on my spend. Remove my business silos within the organization. Make it a fragile organization, flat organization. Lot of opportunities, as I said, talk of technology, systems, and processes to be there. Measure your process and spends, and see if you get a trusted advisor where you can work within the transformation of a digital transformation journey. So some leadership traits on when you do digitization or digitalization there, you pay attention to the scale and sustainability as we talked about. Nurture a culture of innovation. We spoke in the morning, we heard the earlier speakers there. Break silos, teamworks, have digital mindset. I'm still, I just work with a very large enterprise company, and they says, please send your invoice in a physical format, courier it to my office. And I was like, here, I have sent you a scan copy, stamped. What happened to digitization? What happened to digitalization? So we need to be ready. The mindset change has to be there. And then when you start digital transformation journey, start small. But think about the scale it will happen. There are numerous examples we can talk about when we talk about digitalization, digital transformation journey. Small example, one of the very large lift manufacturers in Singapore, signed the contract with building management saying this lift will never go down. They will never get stopped for any unwarranted maintenance claims. So what did they did? They put a lot of sensors on that elevator, and they would keep tracking these sensors for any abnormal or bad behavior use on that elevator. And these were high-speed elevators going to 200 floors, 250 floors. And the guarantee which was given to the tenants of that building was they will never go down except for the planned downtime. Now, how do I track ROI for this? Because this is expensive proposition, right? Keep tracking of this, making ensure it works 24/7. So when some tenants joins that building, they were able to get that guaranteed uptime that, the lift will not go down. I will be always get a workable elevator. Win-win situation both for the service provider and the building management. How? Use of technology. Lot of examples. Today, aeroplanes, which we are talking about, they have sensors all across. So when the plane is in transit or in flight, a lot of data is being captured. And this data goes indirectly back to their data center where they are analyzing this data, massaging this data, and when the plane lands to the destination airport, we exactly know which part is wrong, which spare part is needed. So they don't need to keep a huge inventory of multiple spare parts for the plane. So a lot of things, and this is how they are, what they're trying to do is optimizing their supply chain, not blocking the cash all across. A lot of examples of how digital is being taken care. Leaders like you, the dilemma with the CXO is he's all alone on the top. How do he go and talk what kind of technology to be used? I should be doing something called as first movers advantage. I need to have a sounding board. I need to do a pilot. I need to stay current. And Praveen talked about new age technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, blockchain, AR, VR. Lot of manufacturing companies today are heavily using AR, VR because the people who joined those companies were not able to get the training before they get onto the production floor. People were not traveling. So what they use? They use artificial reality, virtual reality, extended reality to get the favor or flavor of how the shop floor is working, what kind of machines are available. And when the traveling starts opening, people going back to the factories, they were already ready to be on the production floor. Cut down the downtime of getting people into training and then get into the shop floor and then get into the production floor. So digital today makes a lot of sense. Digital is location independent, right? It is also person independent. And one of the lessons I have learned working with large corporates earlier is you need to be process efficient, not people efficient. Process need to work better. People will come and go at some point of time. And a balanced scorecard approach where we talk about 4 pillars. One is people. They are the assets of your organization, everybody knows. Second is process. Third is technology. And fourth is financials. Because every technology will have to be triggered by a CapEx and OpEx. So I need to ensure that am I tracking my ROI working well? Is it being spent better? So 4 pillars of a business model canvas is what it is, where what digital is making sense. Agile and flexible. We'll give you an example. A very large Pune hospital chain was adopting cloud for their healthcare systems. But the earlier provider was not letting them go because their information systems were part of some ABC cloud. So we were called in, negotiate, move the data out, go to a new service provider, go to a new cloud provider. Now, when we talk about, I'm sure some of you will understand what is a word called as firewall. Firewall is a device which helps you protect attacks. So we said, in your contract, you should write something called as a reverse firewall, reverse migration. So if I don't like this new cloud provider, I will write a clause in this contract that this cloud provider is responsible for reverse migration of my data to a service provider of my choice. Now what it helped the hospital is, the hospital was happy, but the cloud provider was, mandated to ensure if they don't provide good services at their cost, they will have to transfer entire IT systems to a new company. And that is what we call it as a contractual firewalls. So this is what a digital advisor or a digital trust ownership helps you in getting things done. Now digital transformation is all, as I said, is a buzzword, abused word. But when you wanted to start your journey on digital transformation, I think 2 things are important: intent and the outcome. So you need to be very clear, what is my problem statement? So what is my intent, what I wish to achieve? And then the mapping of it, take a sign-off of the leadership team, and then start small and gradually increase your journey. And operational excellence over a period of time. Right? So intent to outcome is the approach is what you will take in a digital transformation journey. It's just not the technology implementation. Technology is the last 20% piece of it. The first 80% piece of it is getting your intent, get your stakeholders, everything aligned properly. And then you will talk about the technology mein kya kharidna hai, kya product manage karna hai. Some blocks of digital transformation, agility, technology, process, I talked about the 4 pillars of it. If you don't have it, today everybody in the world, whether you are a small organization or a large organization, is talking about your customer experience. Is my customer happy with my product, or is he happy with my services, or is he happy with my platform? And we call it as something called as CX, customer experience. So everything being customer in the middle of everything. Small example, very large bank in India used a gaming company to build their mobile app. Now somebody should ask, why a bank is not going to a big 4 or large IT companies to build their mobile app? Why they are going to a mobile gaming company to build a mobile app? Out of the box. Why they wanted a mobile gaming company? They wanted intuitiveness. They want the customer to stick to their platform, stick to their mobile app. So stickiness to the platform is important. And customer do not walk into a physical branch. Reduces cost of operations. So outside thinking, outside of the box is what the thinking is all about, what you do in a digital transformation journey. So get your intent right, get your outcome right, and then start the journey then and there. Some strategies, don't crash on your product lines. We saw in the COVID, entire one line of cycle got crashed. You need to work on another new line. You need to be agile. You need to be flexible. It is okay to fail, but it is important you fail fast, but recover faster. Right? So you work on your technology products, you work on your platforms, you work on your manufacturing process, but how quick and agile is this organization is all about. So you fail fast, but recover faster. And that's where digital transformation strategies need to be built in place, improve your customer experience. That's why a lot of companies today have started doing their feedbacks or gaining some ratings, rankings, to understand what is their intuitiveness, what is their customer selection, along with their customer experience is all about, right? So some of the areas, some of you small or mid-sized companies work around us, get your online presence right. Internet is a place where people are pseudoly looking forward to your product, platform, services. Mobility, are you available on a mobile app? The power to get the stickiness of your customer using a mobile app is important. Customer experience, adaptive security. Lot of SME customers across Pune and nearby regions were hit by malware, ransomware, production stopped, challenges in the ecosystem, etc., and they were not ready. But once they hit bad, they have to pay money, they have to pay ransom, experience went bad, production went down. But if they have taken an approach of spending X percentage of their revenue on part of the security measures to be having a readiness available in place, BCP, what we call it as business continuity plan in place, that would not have happened. So please, as a CIO, as an owner of the company or the CEO of the company, please see what is your readiness towards this new cyber age attacks, because online presence is important, but you are also at the risk of exposing a lot of things. How to ensure your perimeter security on your digital world is taken care of, not the physical security, not the security guard, and the interactions with your customers. How are you leveraging these kind of technologies all across? Steps I cite very clearly: intent, assemble a team, sequence the event, and start small. Simple. I will just skip some of these slides, but some key 5 drivers in your digital growth era. Consumer insight. Data is the new oil, but oil need refineries. I talked about it. So you need to have actionable insights, whether you are using IoT, whether you are using analytics or automation, but that data which is coming out, is it giving the management reporting a right aspect where the key decision leaders can take a decision, right? So look at it. Take an integrated approach. Don't take a siloed approach in your digital transformation. So IT is important. It is touching everywhere, whether you are in HR or training or finance or the shop floor or security or your supply chain. Very fragile supply chain. We have been hearing from central government, PMO, and a lot of other sources, our supply chain need to be resilient. We need to be risk-free. We need to be risk-adverse. Need to ensure that we get that right. And if we are digital, we need to ensure at every time, every path, every action, we are able to track these outcomes there, right? Some of these business KPIs is what we are talking about. Profitability. I will spend money on IT because it will have to have, but how do I drive my profitability? How do I drive my productivity? How do I drive my operational efficiency? Cost savings, response from the customer. Those are the days gone where, customer will send you an inquiry and you will take 10 days to respond. Today there is, as I said, no loyalty left. You'll move over to somebody else. Decision capability quickly coming into the picture. So simple, your business strategy or the intent need to drive your digital strategy. And your digital strategy has to drive your IT strategy. Digital is all about business and IT is all about supporting the business. IT is the custodian for the business. It is not a function, it is not an enabler anymore. It is the function where IT is being used as a profit center. So it cannot be a support function anymore today. Some success, I think we talked about in repeating. Maturity of digital, as I said, you start small. Take one step at a time. In your world of manufacturing, packaging, small-scale industry, maturity of people awareness is important. How good the team understand the basics of it. We go to so many conferences, webinars, seminars, But when we talk about tech stuff, that how am I leveraging technology to multifold, either I get my sales better or get my productivity or efficiency better. So how do I use automation to ensure that the work which was supposed to do by 10 people is now done by 2 people? How am I using tech there? Any repetitive processes to be taken care of. So back again, cloud first, mobility first as an approach. Small business model canvas. This is a small example I have, just last 2 slides finishing it. So business model canvas, what, how, when, where, why is all about, can I get an understanding of where do I stand in my digital transformation approach? Where am I? How am I doing? Sense of purpose, why am I doing it? Simple as that. So what we at DigiZen do, Digi is for digital and Zen is for citizen. So DigiZen, digital citizen. So for us, our mandate is to ensure that we help you learn about the digital transformation. We do not sell any product, platform, services, licenses, but we act as your trusted advisor across technologies to see what is the right fit for you. So we are a transformation technology advisory firm, but this is what we do. Thank you so much.
So our next speaker is going to cover the topic, which is how to remodel an SME business for growth and scalability. And our speaker is Mr. Rosario Barreto, Managing Director, Mentor and Coach of Barreco. A very warm welcome to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I waited a long time to make my presentation, and I'm being the last one. I appreciate the patience being shown by all of you. So we had a great session. We've covered a lot of things in today's event. We spoke about manufacturing, we spoke about automation, we spoke about technology. One thing to note is this is all about the external factor. One thing that really matters for an SME business is something which is very internal. Something that an SME businesses fight day in, day out, and that one word is the chaos. The chaos that's built in the business. So what I'm going to talk about in the next 15 minutes is to give you certain tips on business management, especially for those SME business owners who are perpetually surviving in their business and need to move forward. So please pay attention. We're going to take 15 minutes of our time for this presentation. So let me start with this data point. Now, I'm sure everybody has seen this, this slide and know how SME's business fail in 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years. Now, the question is not here about scaring you all, but the question is, how do you see yourself on the other side of the scale, where you are the successful business owners who are in the 34%, the 50%, and the 70% bracket. And for that, what we need to do is look at, understand what is the business cycle, and understand how does that work. So here I would like to share with you an old Harvard Business Review study, which has been old but still very much relevant at this point of time as well. Any small business goes through 5 stages, and these stages can be divided into existence, survival, success, takeoff, and resource maturity. Now, when you look at this scale, the scale is on the x-axis, you will see the lifespan, and on the y-axis, there is the size, desperation, and the complexity. Now, there is no numbers associated to it, because every business has its own complexity and own time range. But when you look at it, every business starts off by fighting for its existence. It's those your early years, and it can go on for a very long time as well. The second phase is where you survive, you get into survival mode. And a lot of business owners that I have met are perpetually in that survival mode. The question is, how do you go to the next stage, which is the success stage? And once you have reached that success stage, how do you take off from there and start working towards the resource maturity, which is where you start corporatizing your business? Now, I would like to share this slide with you, which talks about different business management aspects which are important for business at various stages. So so these 5 basically are the management style that you run your business with, the organization structure that you have, the extent of systems that you have in your business, the strategy, and the role of the business owner in the business. Now, when we look at the first stage, which is the existence stage, this is the stage where the business owner is doing everything. They have a minimal team member, and in terms of systems and process, there is minimal or non-existence. Now, the key strategy over here for the business owner is survival. Not rather survival, but creating an existence for them, finding those customers and proving that the business model is workable. Any business which is in this stage is where the business and the owner are one and the same. Now, when you successfully establish your existence, you move to the survival phase. In this survival phase, even if you have people, it is still driven by you. You supervise the supervisor so that everything is done as per what you have to say. You might bring in some level of system, but your strategy is still more of the survival side. Over here, again, as you can see, the role of the business owner is still very much involved in the business. To move to the third stage of the life cycle, which is the success stage, the business needs to hit a level where you start delivering success, where you start seeing results coming in. You have now grown beyond 1 or 2 customers that is running your business. And this is where you need to take 2 decisions. One, either you decide that, okay, this is what I want to hit, this is the best that I want to do, and I will now like to disengage and maintain stability and keep the business profitable. And the second choice that you have over here is, how do you invest in the business and make the business go to the next level where you can then take off? A lot of the discussion that we had today was about that takeoff. How do you take off to the next level of growth by investing in your business? But for that to happen, you need to be first at a level where you're not at a survival mode, but you are in a success mode. Because only when you are in a success mode that you will think about going to the takeoff mode. Yeah? So this is the key aspect over here, and this is where a lot of things comes into play. Now, I would like to share a few things about how this can be done. So the whole objective of this presentation is, how can you move from the survival mode to the success mode? But before that, I just want to quickly touch upon few aspects of business which are very critical for the success of the business. And there are 2 elements. One element is the business element, and the second element is the business owner element. So both you and your business play an important factor on how successful you would be. So from a business factor point of view, we discussed this. I think this was the main point of discussion in most part of the day, the financial resources. How are you managing your cash flow? How are you managing investment in your business? The second part, which is another point that was discussed earlier, is the people part. How do you build your team, and how do you get quality people in your team? The third is about the system. How do you create the system in your business? When I spoke about chaos, the chaos is there because there is no system. So creating the system which creates structured method, visibility in your business is the critical element of your business. And the third aspect is the business resource. You as an organization is not just you, but there is a complete ecosystem around you. So how you build your customers, how you build your partners, how you build your suppliers, how you build your service providers, those things becomes very important aspect. Now, when we look at from a business owner's perspective, the first and the most important thing is the goal alignment. As a business owner, what are your goals? And what are the goals that you have set for your company, and how they're aligned? Without that alignment, there would be a disconnect. So that's another important part of aspect which are very critical for your business success. The functional ability of the business owner. As a business owner, at the end of the day, there is a time when you do a lot of things by yourself. So as a business owner, how do you understand various functions and how do you work around it is pretty key. And that's the reason why you're here, to build those knowledge for yourself. The third part is the delegation ability. As a business owner, your willingness to delegate is the key aspect of your business growth. If you are not able to delegate responsibilities and authority, that's the reason what's holding you back. And the fourth aspect is your own strategic ability. Are you focusing on the strategic ability, the future of your business, or are you focusing on the fire that you need to douse today? Now, this 8 element that we have seen, this is not something which I have created over here. Again, this is a part of the Harvard Business Review study, which is so relevant and which I thought I should share with all of you. Now, this is a very interesting slide. If you look at all those 8 elements, and if you look at the relevance of that at the various stages of a business cycle, if you divide it between critical, important, and moderately important, in the first 2 stages, it's the owner's ability, the cash, and the goal that you've set for the business, which becomes important. But as you're moving towards your growth success stage, it's everything else that becomes more important. It is no longer about you as a business owner, but it is all about how you're setting the structures and processes in the business. So it's a quick slide on why do business fail. So how do you know that your business is struggling? Now, if you are facing any of the situation in your company, that means you are facing one or the other challenges in your business. Either the system is not in place or whatever. Okay, so if you're running all around chaos, there's a complete dependency of the business on you. You're finding difficult to find and retain your employees. There are customer complaints, there are business running on handbook client, then yes, there is a problem. So how do we solve this problem? To solve this problem, you need to have a business management structure. And I would like to introduce to you a business management structure that we have built in Barrico, which we call it as business foundation and management model. So with this model, we look at basically creating purpose, creating structure in your business, building predictability in your business, and creating accountability of key aspect of how you manage your people. I'm just rushing this up a bit because I see the time is of essence over here, so please bear with me. If we need to discuss it, we can always discuss it offline. So quickly, what is this BFM model? So the BFM model has 3 elements: the foundation, the organization, and the management aspect to it. The foundation is basically the key part of your business management strategy, which in a human analogy, I call it as a heart. You need to have a heart in your business. If there is no heart, that's something that really hits you. That you need a heart so that there's a gel which could actually connect everybody in the organization. The second aspect, which is the organization bit, is to have a strong body, a body which can run and is healthy enough to take the business forward. And the third aspect is you have your heart, you have your body, but you need to have you need to give the right exercise to your body for you to be able to get the best results out of it. So by doing so, you will then be able to bring in the purpose, the structure, the predictability, the accountability that you want to see in your business. So I'm going to quickly run you through each of this element and what are the key aspects of it. Some of these things you will know. Everybody knows. It's not that something I'm going to show something new over here, but the question that you might want to ask is, how much of that is currently actually running in your business? So the key aspects over here, when you talk about the foundation, there are 6 key elements: values, vision, mission, the goals that you've set in your business, and what's your go-to market on your niche. So the first 3 part, which is the value, vision, and mission, when you talk about values, everybody understands values, but why is values important? Values is important on one very simple thing. You as an individual, you like to work with people with whom you can connect. Who do you connect with? You connect with people where you share those values. Similarly, think about it. If you start hiring people on values, you will have a set of people in their organization who would be able to gel together. And that's why value is so important. And now I'm not talking at a corporate level. I'm talking about an SME. And this can be done at an SME level. You need to have a mission in your, you need to have a vision in your business. A lot of SME businesses, owners I speak to, have no vision. They're there to just run the business. But that's not going to take you very far. I mean, there is a classic vision of Microsoft, where in 1980 they had a vision when they started the company saying they want to put computer in every home. And that's exactly what they have done. When you build that kind of vision, you create a purpose about what you want to do. And once you have that vision, then you work on your mission on how you're going to go about it and set things up. Now, the reason why these three things are very important is because these three things become the driving factor not just for you, but for your entire organization. People then stop not coming for not for the 9-to-5 job, but they come to do work which is worthwhile. And that's what you need to create as a foundation. The other thing is on the goals. A lot of SME businesses may not have a long-term goal or a mid-term goal, forget about even short-term goal. But you need to have those goals set. Okay? You need to set a goal which is primarily your end game. And then basis on that, you work backward toward what is your mid-term goal and your short-term goal. Because your short-term goal, what you're doing today, should justify your long-term goal. If you are sitting over here today, there needs to be a goal associated with it, which is your long-term goal, which is the reason why you're sitting here, you're listening to this presentation, and not wasting your own time. And that's why the goal is so important. The last thing on this part is your niche. I'll quickly say this. As an SME business owner, you should not try to be everything for everybody. Yeah, and that's where a SME business fails. Because then you're not able to differentiate yourself, then you're not able to create the value that you could bring by putting that focus. I could go a bit on this, but my time's up, so I need to rush on this, so my apologies for it. The third part, which is the organization part, is the three pillars to it. The first pillar is the design pillar. For whatever goal that you have set for yourself, you need to then go and build an organization around it. Because without having that organization, you will never be able to make that goal, or you'll never be able to build the technology or the future. And the key aspect over here is you need to have those three functions: sales, finance, and operations. A lot of time I've seen the business owner themselves are sales, themselves are operation, themselves are finance. When you're running a business, you can't be doing that. If you want to move from the survival mode to the success mode, you need to find ways to delegate and build a right structure. If you don't have sales, you will not be able to bring in new business. If you don't have operation, you will not be able to keep a happy customer. And the last thing is on this is you need to have someone who is a visionary. Ask yourself in your business, who is thinking of the future? Who is running the business today, and who is thinking of the future? The second part is the accountability part, and this is where, again, I would like to say that in a lot of SME businesses, I've seen that everybody is doing everything. Everybody is selling, everybody is talking to customer, everybody is doing operation. And a simple thing to remember over here is when everybody is doing everything, nobody is responsible for anything. Yeah? So you need to build, so for you to build an accountability, you need to have one position, one person, define the roles and responsibility very clearly, and give a number to every position. And the most important thing over here is you need to have a right person in the right position. Now, I've been asked this question again and again that it's very difficult to find people. So how do I get those right person in a right seat? I'll give you an example. Dr. Velumani, Thyrocare, sold off his company for 2,000 crore, has 4,000 people. And for all those 4,000 people, this was their first job. Yeah, so how do you get the right person in the right seat? Is by setting up your processes. You are business owners who are 10 years, 20 years, 30 years running the business. You know the processes inside out, but have you documented it? Have you created a structure in your organization which you can then give to your people and say, this is how you need to run the business? And when you do this, this is when you are actually becoming a scalable business. And when you have those processes documented, this is when you would be able to take an average type of person and get the best results come from that person because you've given him a process to run, and he learns from it. So quickly, my last part of this model is on the management. And the first part over here is on planning. I'd like to ask you, are you running your business by default or by design? You need to have planning in your business. You need to know, your team need to know where you're going, and you need to identify your rocks. Rocks as a concept is something which is the most important thing. So you should be spending your time on the rocks and not just on anything and just get into the day and do what comes your way. The second part is data. Yeah? And again, here I would like to quote, it was quoted by a CEO of the IBM, "In God we trust, all others bring data." Manage your business by data. Build your scorecard. Create your KPI, and then run your business. Take a 30,000-foot view of your business, and then run your business, because you are a business owner who needs to take the business forward, and you cannot do that by being day in, day out. How do you do that? You need to work on the KPI and the scorecards on that. And the last part on the management is the meetings. You need to have meeting. Meeting is not just for the corporate. Meeting is for every organization. And the whole purpose of meeting is to empower your people. Give them a platform where they can come and share the problem, and you can help them with their problem. And that's how meeting helps. Again, there is a way how you can make a 10-on-10 meeting that can be discussed separately. So the key part is by using this kind of a BFM model, and again, as I said, this is not something which I've invented. This is a very standard thing. I've put that in a structure which can make sense for SME businesses. You can move from, oh, this is moving pretty fast. You can, sorry about that. You can move from a complete chaos that everybody is growing everywhere to a very focused approach towards your business. Now, people may ask, why do we need a business management consultant? And my simple answer to that is, you may have everything that you have. You may have all the resources and information. But if you don't know how to use them, it is of no use. And this is where a business management consultant like me come in. We are the subject matter experts. We bring in the expertise and the tools to you. We bring in the outside-in view, and we work with you as your accountability partner. That's my background. I've worked in logistics industries for 25 years with big brands. I've been a CEO of a company for 2 years, and I'm a certified coach and a consultant. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen and ladies.
I think you should be an opening batsman. The next program, I will invite you to speak in the morning only, because coach is very important for every business. You can transform the business. You can support for a better performance, and this is a need of our other. Because I am the founder of SME Coach, that's why. And I know what is the importance of the coach. So thank you very much. Let me thank again Tata Tele Business Services, Gati, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, Bank of India, Godrej, Kotak Mahindra Bank, CIBIL, and Government of Maharashtra. And special thanks to all of you, and more special thanks to all the speakers, because keeping continuity in the program, that is the most important, and giving mentoring session and giving proper support services, guidance, that is the most important for SME sector now. So friends, with this word, I would like to thank all the speakers, all the sponsors again, and special thanks to you again, because this important program is supporting SMEs to grow more. And I observed that many SMEs, even I was talking in the afternoon also, they have a good product, but they don't have a better market. So we can identify market, we can support you to go global, We can support you resolve your issues and problems. We can take up your grievances. Only thing is that you have to enroll as a member. You have to send your specific problem, issues, and suggestions on our email ID or connect with us in Mumbai office and Pune office. Thank you very much. Avinash, you would like to give a closing remarks? Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah. So, we had an amazing experience over here with various panelists from knowing the technology, knowing digitalization, what's the gateway to Europe, from EU Cargos, Mr. Barreto, and K. Ravi on packaging. So collectively, it's a broad spectrum and a lot of knowledge here. So that's the motto for SME Technology Council, what we are trying to do. So I would request you to come and take advantage of us and come with your queries, questions, or requirements to the SME Technology Council, and we'll try to help you put in the right advisory, put in the right knowledge skill. We're trying to build up the skill matrix or a skill database for all, and that we try to take it further. So I would really appreciate if you guys come back to us in terms of your technology questions, and we'll try to work out in the same way, apart from taking it further, other various aspects. So thank you all. And I would ask you to give big applause to you to be such a patient listener. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Well, moving ahead, we have one more session to be coming up. Are we in for it? Well, I would rather say that whenever there is a conference like this, as an anchor, I have always noticed that the people who are sitting and waiting till the end are the ones who are actually hungry for the knowledge and the insights that are being shared by these speakers. So a huge round of applause to everybody who's sitting right over here to grab the knowledge. With this, I would like to thank all the panel members who were present over here, the speakers who shared their insight and knowledge. I'm not sure that how many years of overall experience, 300 plus years for sure, if I am not wrong, 300 plus or maybe 400 plus years of experience in this hall sitting right here. Sir, I would request you to kindly join us on stage for a group photo op, if you can join us, please. With this, a big, big thank you to the entire audience who was here, all the sponsors, the event organizers. Thank you so much on behalf of SME Chambers of India. Thank you.